very clear that he'd want to hear things that are happening so that he can see that we're serious about what we're doing. I'm going to go back to my multitasking comment. In order for us to appease, to appease the council, to appease our partners, and to appease staff, we've got to multitask. We have to do all of the things that everybody's talking about. They're all interconnected. It's a team. But we've got to do it all at once in little steps. And we've got to take snapshot by time as we're going and take baby steps and put it together well. Because obviously it wasn't well before because it ended up being. So I'm just saying we've got to look at all aspects of it.
Councilor Irwin?
I guess just if John is going to make, if Councilor Russell is going to make an amendment to this, well, of course, we don't know if that amendment will be accepted. But that amendment essentially says this goes back to staff for their review as to how this process will move forward.
No.
He was asking for time limit.
No, basically it would say.
Well, how, okay, how the
say,
timeline?
It would say, please make a report immediately on how to make this resolution work with timelines and include the 2 municipalities and your best practical, what he called the Director of Community Services as a role project manager, because they're going to say, we'll recommend maybe hiring an engineer or something like that. To me, that's the difference. There's the difference. See the little difference?
Now, okay, now I'm...
This is what council's giving direction on. Now, make this work within the system we have now. See the difference?
Make this work within the system we have.
Because what we have is we have this thing right now. Well, this is a new idea, the task force. And then there's the system that exists now, right? Well, obviously we're kind of caught in the middle here, and we're speaking to to the issue. The fact is, you do have to respect the staff. You do have to respect the staff to give us. You see where? Does that make sense to you now?
I have a question. All right. So the outcome of this will be an action plan, timelines, and the roles of staff.
There you go.
And the role of staff could be vetting something from professional engineers, or it could be going and doing the whole 9 yards themselves.
There you go.
So can we somehow get that incorporated here? Did we?
You just did.
Well, I want action plans, timelines, role of staff, and a staff report on all of that.
2 municipalities.
And the involvement of the other municipalities.
I think that's the question that they're going to have, is how you're going ahead on this with your own.
If we do all of that, then you're going to satisfy Dino, you're going to satisfy staff, you're going to satisfy us, and you're going to make everybody as happy as you can make it. Our partners will see that we're not kidding around.
As long as they're included in some part of this, or some part of the work plan, they're back at the table with us, or they're included.
That's part of the action.
That's the key of the action plan, is when do we have that discussion with them?
Exactly.
Deputy Mayor Dan.
I have a bit of a difficulty with some of the terminologies, because to me, what John is communicating is actually establishing the terms of reference that includes the timeline, the role of staff, and the other municipalities' involvement, because the action plan itself has to be with those people that are on the ground dealing with the strategic decisions about which direction we're going and who we're going to ask. I think that is the role of the actual oversight committee. I think what we need from staff, and I have no problem making that amendment as a seconder, is terms of reference that has those 3 points to it, which is the timeline, the role of staff, and the involvement of the other municipalities. But I think we need to leave the action plan itself to the oversight committee to determine.
But that's what an oversight committee is it's an action group.
I know what they were saying, the staff was going to determine what the action plan was. I don't think that's the staff's responsibility. I think the staff has to determine the terms of reference for us, that's fine. But the oversight committee determines the action plan.
So basically you're asking in terms from striking a committee to a report. That's the way the motion Well, that's exactly what I've interpreted it now, because John is asking for a report. He's not asking for the motion to go forward, he's asking for a report.
Addition.
On how to make the.
On how to
Well, once you make that amendment, the motion's not.
How to make the motion
can't
work.
move forward.
Right?
You can't move forward if you're gonna make a motion to send, if you're having a motion. to send
Catching
it
the
to staff.
catch-22, are you?
That's the way I see it, John.
Because you can't throw, okay, unless we change the whole system that we exist under right now as an organizational structure, well, what was disingenuous, I think is the term. You know, you just don't, you can't suck and blow. If I said that once, I'll say it twice. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
We didn't say about anybody specific.
I didn't say it was very specific, but I think we do.
quite often.
Yeah, we do, and I do it myself all the time, but it's just part of the game. I think what we've got here is a great direction, and the action plan, I think Elizabeth's exactly right. The action plan with staff will be developed by this, whatever, task force committee, or whatever it is. That's a partnership type of thing, because there's realism that comes from staff and the operations side, and then there's gonna be the dream world that comes from the multitaskers or whatever, right? But I think the simple fact is, without including them, right, then this won't go very far.
By including,
I just don't think it will go very far.
or including who?
Staff.
Staff, okay. Well, you can't do it without staff, no.
No.
I agree with you.
That's what
I
the
just
first
wondered
part of the
whether it
motion
was without including.
All right, so could we have this motion read back, please? Are you okay with this, Carol?
Or the addition.
Well, I'm not sure.
Well, read this back, what you think.
Sorry,
is
no,
right.
It's all over the place, guys. Let's figure out, are we going forward to strike a committee? Are we going forward to get a report back from staff? What are we looking for? That's what, you're turning it into three different things here.
If we let Carol read back what she has, then maybe we could see where perhaps we're headed or not headed.
I will read back what I last heard, and please feel free to correct me on this, that, notwithstanding our notice of motion, but that a report on how to implement the oversight committee resolution, including terms of reference, timelines, role of staff, and involvement of the other two partners.
So passing the motion, and we're getting this report on how it's gonna work.
We're passing the motion, yes, to have an oversight committee, and then that oversight committee will meet with staff and report back to this council on how this oversight committee is going to work. On what its task is, and the timelines, and who's
No,
included.
I don't think it's strict us.
Alexander, what?
It's becoming apparent to me that this council is very good at talking a good game. But when the chips are down and it's time to actually do something with a sense of urgency, there's a great reluctance for anybody to go against the existing paradigm and change their mindset so that we can accept a bit of a risk and actually do something substantial. And I implore you to take a bit of a risk at this time so that I think we can trust the people that, well, maybe not, but the original motion seems to hit everything and is talking and dilly-dallying about whether staff is in there or not, or we're going to hold our partners' hands or whatever. They're all part of it. Staff is all part of it. Let's do something, get them to go out there, find out, and then they can come back on March the 5th with a plan versus dilly-dallying and prevaricating. Oh, you're telling me to be quiet, are you? I'm done.
That's real.
Okay. I don't agree with dilly-dallying and carrying on either. And an oversight committee, staff, give us a report on what needs to be done, who needs to be hired, and what needs to happen, and let's get doing it immediately.
Missed the point, Council.
Is the clarification, the director, the appointment that you're making for the project manager is for Lambton Shores or for the project?
This is a Lambton Shores.
Okay, let's be clear on that, because that's important to our partners and from what I've discussed with the other mayors, that we are the lead municipality, but we don't lead all by ourselves. We get that committee to come back. We're still partners in this three, and the Build Canada has said that we're partners with the three.
No.
Bill